Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my ninth podcast episode. Today, I want to talk about skincare, and I'm not going to get massively in depth into skincare. This is what I trained for. This is this is what I trained for. This is what my initial training was in. So I went to beauty school, went to beauty college, and trained to be a beautician initially before I did the yoga or anything else. My very first thing that I trained in and my first kind of step into the job that I've ended up being into was working as a beautician. So I want to talk about like how to get into skincare. Maybe you're new to it. We're talking about this very basically. And if you're someone who's you're maybe in your teens and all your friends are starting to get into skincare, or maybe you're slightly older and you're noticing some skin concerns and you want to maybe start introducing a skin routine, or maybe you just feel like you'd like to start a skin routine, I'm going to talk to you about how to kind of get started. So this is going to be very basic, level one, like just why it's important, things you should and shouldn't do with your skin, and maybe like the order to put products on. But I'm not going to be pushing a particular brand or anything like that. This is so basic. This is for someone who has never really dealt with skincare at all before. It's someone who doesn't know anything about what they're doing, and it's just like level one. Yeah. So let's dive straight in. Hi, my name is Meg, and you are listening to the Wellness Musings with Meg podcast. I am a fully qualified beautician and yoga teacher who has studied and worked in health and wellness since 2017. I have been obsessed with wellness my entire life and have always wanted to share my passions more. If you love health, wellness, and yoga and want to learn more, this podcast is for you. I will be bringing you all things wellness, from diet and lifestyle to beauty tips and tricks, and of course, yoga as well. So grab yourself a green tea and find a tranquil spot, and let's jump in. So as I said, my initial qualification was in beauty therapy. One of the first things you do when you go to beauty school is, because the facial course is so big in your first year, you basically dive straight in and you do facials. I'm pretty sure the first lesson I had the first lesson I had at beauty school was doing waxing your bikini line, which makes you feel very awkward and uncomfortable, but they get you to like into the deep end. You end up knowing all of the girls so well. But on that very first day, yeah, we turned up and my teacher was like, "Oh, you guys are going to learn how to wax bikini lines." And we were like, "What? We've never met each other and now we have to do this." And then after that, they were like, "Okay, now let's go into the basics of a facial." And I actually think the very first thing they taught us was the order to do products in. So what the actual routine is, which I'll go over in a bit. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is just why skincare is important. And I want to stress here that it doesn't need to be a necessity for everybody. So, for example, my mum and my sister, in fact, both my sisters don't really have a skin routine, but they all have really gorgeous skin. Like their skin is like porcelain dolls, like really beautiful. But I think I'm not preaching that everybody needs to have one. But if you are someone who is putting makeup on your face regularly, maybe has quite a dirty job, for example, working on a building site, just off the top of my head, where you're in a very dusty environment, if you live in a city, little things like that, I think skincare can be really beneficial. And I think it's a good key and a good tool to use. If you're someone who's born and naturally has really lovely skin, you don't have any concerns, you are very lucky. And yeah, you probably don't feel like you need a skin routine. And I'm not going to preach that to you. But if you are suffering with acne, fine lines, maybe your skin is looking drier, maybe, there's all these different things that you could have as a skin concern. And that's where skincare can be really beneficial. It's also really good for prevention as well. So, for example, moisturizing every day and keeping your skin moisturized and having sun cream on. These are all things that are going to help you to prevent aging signs. But again, if you're someone like, for example, my mum, who is extremely chilled, she does not care at all, and she's not bothered by things like if I mean, my mum has got absolutely incredible skin, and she literally does nothing, and she does everything that I tell her not to do, like sleep with makeup on. And she's probably going to listen to this podcast, and I'm calling her out on it. But her skin is actually lovely, and she's very lucky with genetics that she's got that. But a lot of her friends maybe, and they have a skin routine, and they might be more concerned of things like fine lines and wrinkles. So I'm not here to preach, I'm not here to enforce a skincare routine. But if you are interested in maybe changing something, adding something in, or starting a skincare journey, these are the things that a skincare journey can help you with. I have been doing skincare my entire life, honestly, from maybe 8. I Just because I was obsessed with skincare, I've always been obsessed with the beauty industry, with wellness, always. Like, when I say that is my introduction, I'm not lying. Like, from the moment I was born, I was obsessed with makeup, skincare, products, food, like healthy foods. I've always been absolutely obsessed with the whole thing. So from like the age of 8, I was using bio oil. Like, I was obsessed with having and trying bio oil, and I was putting that on my skin every night. In hindsight, and now I know what I know, probably wouldn't have recommended that for me, but it's better than nothing. And that's what I want you to remember in this podcast episode. If you have a skin concern, but maybe you've got a really small budget or something like that, doing something is better than doing nothing. And one of the best things you can do if you have got a small budget is to, instead of focusing necessarily on the products that you're using, focus on your like external factors. So what I mean by this is the very basics. So if someone comes to me to have facials and they're starting to get interested in skincare, or they are asking a few questions and they say, oh, my skin feels like this, or okay, let's say someone comes to me and says, oh, I'm getting loads of acne and it's come out of nowhere and I'm not sure what to do. And let's say this person is in their teens. Now I can look at this two ways. I can say, right, well, it could well be hormonal acne. But then you start listening to their lifestyle and you say, right, okay, so what are you doing in a day? Oh, well, I don't drink any water, I only drink fizzy drinks. I vape all of the time, and oh, I don't eat vegetables. I hate all fruits and vegetables. I just eat McDonald's. Well, yeah, that's probably what's causing your skin. That's, you've got to keep this so basic. In It's so, I don't know, for me, I just feel like that's obvious. So yes, it could still be hormonal, but the things that you're putting into your body are going to be tampering with your hormones and changing your body to basically cause your acne. So it might not be that. I mean, I know people and grew up with friends who had gorgeous skin and they smoked, they would drink every weekend, and they did all of these really horrendous things to their skin, and it theoretically should have been awful skin, but it wasn't. But if you're someone with a concern, I think it's important to look at lifestyle before everything else. And I've said this to all of my clients for so many years. You could spend thousands of pounds on the most expensive cream in the world, but if you're not doing things like drinking enough water in the day, or cutting out stress from your life, or having a healthy diet, you're just, it's like a vicious cycle. What's the point? What is the point? It's like putting a plaster over a bullet wound. It's not going to do anything. It might make the tiniest difference, but it's just, I mean, and my pet hate is when, especially when I used to work in a spa and we had very expensive, very luxurious, kind of natural but scientific product lines that we were using. And I would do like a lovely facial on someone, and then they'd spend like, in some cases we're looking at like 500 or 600 pounds, because they're like, oh yes, I want to start looking after my skin, blah blah blah. what do you recommend? And I'd sort of tell them what I've used on them, what would be good and beneficial for their skin and why. And they just drop their money and be like, yeah, cool, I'll buy that. I'd then see them outside smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, why? Why? You've just spent £500 or £600 on so many products and you've just undone all of my work. You laid on a bed, had a gorgeous facial, dropped a load of money on that facial and then on products, and then you've gone outside and had a cigarette. You've just undone everything that I've just done to your skin. And that's like my pet hate with skincare. And I know that people have, I know it's a habit and I know it's hard to get out of, but just what I'm saying is that it's important when you're looking at your skin and when you're looking at what you maybe want to change, don't just dive straight in through like seeing something online and think this is going to solve all my problems. No, because in a lot of cases, the problem is your lifestyle, not necessarily what you're putting on your face. And this is why I'm saying that skincare isn't always a huge necessity. For some people, it really is just shifting your lifestyle. And you don't, marketing is very, very clever in the beauty industry, extremely clever. And this goes on to my second point of like do's and don'ts of skincare. Please don't take advice from people on TikTok, from YouTube, from Instagram who have no qualifications in anything to do with skincare. They don't know. They do not know. Something that works for one person might not work for somebody else. That's the first thing. The second thing is that that company is probably endorsing them to and sponsoring them to push their product. And the third thing is, oh my God, as someone who's worked in, I'm not even an esthetician, but I listen to some of the things that people say, oh, put this on your skin every day. And oh my God, I'm just like, I'm cringing as I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, why? Don't, why? Oh my God, I can't believe you are. And people listen to it. This is what really, really baffles me is they brainwash people and they just take it all in and they start listening as if it's gospel truth. And that person has absolutely no credentials. Don't get me wrong, there are a few people who don't have qualifications who I've heard, and actually I sit there and go, yeah, they really know their stuff. But really, if you're new to skincare and you're new to, and you want to find products that work for your skin, please do not find the answers from TikTok, from Instagram, from YouTube with people who do not have a qualification. If you want to make it easy, go to a dermatologist or go to a beautician and get them to teach you about your own personal skin. That's the best thing you can do. If you can't get to a dermatologist or an esthetician, then I would say following people on social media that are qualified and very well qualified so that you can see the brands that they're using and the brands that they recommend and the brands that they use on their own clients and themselves. They'll often teach you things as well. Off the top of my head, I mean, one of my favorite people I follow on Instagram is JD Wadey 180. She is fantastic. She has a very holistic and natural approach, but she gets results. So if maybe go and have a look at her profile, that's the sort of thing you're looking for. Someone who knows what they're talking about, does it professionally as a job, has worked with thousands of different types of skin and different people with different concerns. That's what you're looking for in someone to follow and to get advice from. Some other do's and don'ts are things like, and I said this last time on the was it the last podcast, maybe the podcast before, sleeping with makeup on. Oh, that's my biggest ick. Ugh, do not sleep with makeup on. It is so gross. If you're going to do one thing to do in your skincare, it would just be wash your face before you go to sleep. If you're going to take anything away from this, please just do that, because your skin, it's like the same as having a shower. You wouldn't, it's important to clean your skin, especially if you're putting makeup on. It just piles on, it sits in your pores. It is just so gross. To be honest with you, when you oh, I don't know. I obviously love makeup, but it's a double-edged sword. I just think the idea of makeup, like when you think of what it's actually doing on your skin, and when people wear it for hours on end and do things like go to work in a maybe somewhere that's not the cleanest, or they expose themselves to like germs, or they're like, oh, I just, oh, the concept of makeup is actually disgusting. And so then to sleep with it on as well, no, that's one of my biggest no-nos, is sleeping with your makeup on. So yeah, just wash your face. And I will go into the order and things, but even if you just buy yourself a cleanser and give your skin a little wash, even if you don't do that and you literally just wash your face with a bit of water, it's better than nothing. And this moves me quite nicely onto my next do's and don't. Do not use bars of soap, hand wash, shampoo, and one I really hate is baby wipes or facial wipes. Please don't use them. I They dry out your skin. So I mean, I've had clients who use it and they've got lovely skin, and I their skin must be screaming on the inside. How they have lovely skin and they just use a bar of soap on their face, I genuinely don't know. But yeah, if you're someone who has problematic skin, definitely do not use bars of soap, shampoo. Like, they're used to strip oil from the skin, and they're antibacterial, which you don't really need on skin, not unless you've got really serious acne, and then you want to be using it in a gentle formula, not to the extreme of, like, okay, for example, if you fell on the street and you landed, I know it's disgusting, but in dog poo or bird poo as you caught your fall, what's the first thing you would do? You'd go and wash your hands. And what would you use to wash your hands? Antibacterial hand wash. So, what is that antibacterial hand wash designed to do? It's designed to kill all the germs that could hurt you, because obviously, if you put your hands in your mouth, you're going to get sick. It's designed to kill all those germs from your hand. That's why a lot of beauticians who do nails will say to use hand cream, because it dehydrates your hands, because you're stripping all of the oil off of your hands. And I'm not saying don't use antibacterial soap. Please use it. It's so important. It's going to stop you from getting ill, but don't use it on your face unless you've landed in dog poo on your face. And yeah, facial wipes I really hate for a couple of reasons. First one, again, the similar to the bars of soap and using soap on your skin or on your face, it's going to strip your skin. um I mean, think about it. It's got like a lot of facial wipes are like foamy when you actually touch them. They're like wet and foamy. Imagine, and we've probably all been there, especially when you're a kid and you are in such a rush and your mum's like, wash your hands. You're at a play pen or whatever, and you like just whack a bit of soap on your hands, and you think, as a kid, you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't need to wash it off with water. Why do we wash soap off with water? Because if you leave soap on your face, it dehydrates your skin. If you repeatedly do it, it's going to dehydrate your skin more and more. You need to wash that soap off. When you use a facial wipe, yes, the amount of soap or the foaming agent in that facial wipe is minimal, but you are still repeatedly doing it. You're repeatedly basically putting a mild soap or on your face and then not actually washing it off with water. So that's my first reason why I don't like it. And it strips your skin again. And the second thing is that it's really, really bad for the planet. And I love the planet. I'd quite like to continue to live here. So I'd quite like it not to implode in a big ball of fiery flames. So if we could all just stop using facial wipes, that would be brilliant. Even if you go on, like, I've never used a facial wipe on my face. I've gone out on nights out and I've come home and I've still able to wash my face. I've been abroad, I've been on holiday, I've been camping even, and I am still able to wash my face. I mean, if you people, when they say, oh yeah, well, I take facial wipes, they're still wet. So you still have to, if you're going abroad, don't use that as an excuse, because if you're going abroad, you need to put them in your like wet liquids pouch anyway. And the packet is like the same size as an 100 milliliter bottle of cleanser that you could put in. And a flannel, I mean, just take a couple of flannels with you to wash it off with. And if you really feel like you can't do that, I bet you if you went to the hotel and used your towel and just used different corners of the towel every day to wipe off your cleanser, and then went downstairs and said, I need a fresh towel, they'd probably give you one. Or you could go and buy a pack of, and I'll tell you what else, you could buy some flannels while you're there, or you can even get like these travel bamboo pads, and they're tiny when they're dry, and as soon as you put them under the water, they increase and go really big. So in my opinion, there is no excuse for facial wipes. They're so damaging to your skin and to the planet. And I've ranted about facial wipes now for like 4 minutes, so that's how much I don't like facial wipes. But things that you should be doing for your skin. So we've covered a few don'ts, a few do's. Do drink plenty of water. Do moisturize your skin. I think moisturizing is a really important factor. I get so many people that go, oh no, I've got oily skin, so I can't moisturize. And I'm like, oh. No, sometimes that's not the case. Unless you have a problem with your skin where it's overproducing oil to such an extreme, and you've got ridiculously bad acne to the point where you should be seeing a doctor, a dermatologist, or an esthetician, someone really high up, you probably, unless you're plagued with acne or you have something actually wrong with your sebaceous glands, which is the gland in your skin that secretes sebum, which is the oil that you see on your face, unless you actually have an issue, you will need moisture. And one of the biggest things that I hear people say, especially like some brands that I have worked with or haven't heard about and sort of done research into, and this is a bit of a pet hate of mine for brands, is when a skincare brand hires people, or it's not a pyramid scheme, but there's one person and then they employ two people to sell their products, and all they're trying to do is sell products. And what really annoys me and baffles me is that these people are selling skincare, but they don't have to have any sort of credentials or qualifications to sell that skincare. And then that brand is also trying to level up and become like a really high-end brand, and like marketing wise tries to look like they're going to fix all your skincare concerns. It's amazing. And I'm, no, you can't pull the wool over my eyes. No. I feel like this is a very ranty episode, but there's a lot of things in skincare that really, really grinds my gears. And this is one, because I get so many people and they'll come to me and I go, oh, so you're breaking out a lot. I can see that your skin is a bit oily. And they go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'll look closely and I'll start doing like a bit more of an in-depth kind of look into the skin. And I go, oh yeah, your skin is you need lots of moisture because your skin is actually really dehydrated. And they go, oh, well, so and so from this brand told me that my skin is oily. And I was like, yeah, but that's what it looks like on the surface. Oh, well, that explains why oily products don't work for me. Yeah, because oily products are designed to stop oil. The problem in a lot of people with oily skin is that they actually have extremely dehydrated skin. And so their skin is overproducing oil. And then that makes it look like they have oily skin when actually they've got very dehydrated skin. And unless it's little things like this, unless you've gone to college or trained to be an esthetician, trained to work with skincare, that you don't know. So when I hear these people and they just look at someone and go, oh, your skin's a bit shiny, so you must have oily skin. Use all of these products, spend £400 on all of these, and it will fix you. And that person spends the money and then goes, oh, my skin is worse, or my skin is not that good. And you think, well, yeah, because that person's misdiagnosed you. It's like going to a doctor and them going, oh yeah, just take this medication because we're not really going to look into what's wrong with you. We're just going to give you whatever, and we'll see if that works. I just and then people come to me and they don't understand where they've gone wrong, and this is why it's so important to listen to people who've got qualifications when it comes to skincare. So there's another rant for you. Please don't buy off somebody who hasn't got a clue. Unless they have an actual qualification from college or university, wherever, unless they actually know what they're talking about, just don't buy products from them. Don't listen to their recommendations, especially in the beginning. Once you start getting the hang of it and you start realizing who seems to actually know what they're talking about and why, if they don't have a qualification. And like there's a few people on YouTube that I've followed, and they will say they don't have a qualification, but when you look at the level of in depth that they go into, and they are literally skincare junkies. They are obsessed and they really know what they're talking about, and they have self-taught themselves. So when you start learning, and especially if you are seeking help from a dermatologist or an esthetician or a beautician, and they're guiding you and they've told you what your skin needs, it will really help you to be able to find out what products suit you best, and you'll kind of have an idea of what you're looking for. um yeah, so I feel like that was a do, but it was also a don't. What is another do? Do think about your skin, think about what your skin's going through, think about like what it's, yeah. Because and when I say this, like when I say, for example, do think about what your skin's going through, when I say wash your makeup off at night or wash your face at night, I don't mean overstrip your skin. You've got to think about what your skin is going through and what you're putting on your skin and what you're applying to that skin. For example, if you are, I have some clients who maybe have had OCD and they're getting problems with their skin, and it's because they're overly washing and overly stripping their skin. I've even had some people that have got such bad OCD that they feel like they have to exfoliate their skin. So, like, actually scrub their skin with a scrub every day, and that again will strip your skin. So just think about what your skin's going through. If you are living in a city or you travel to a city, and for example in London you're on the tube trains, I'm sure other cities have the same sort of thing. I'm such a untraveled country bumpkin. I'm sure they do. But if you go somewhere like that, think about what your skin's going through. Think about that it's in a place that is heavily polluted, a lot of germs, a lot of people. Think about the weather. If it's cold, your skin's probably drying out. If it's really hot, think about it probably being affected by the sun. Has it been sunburnt? Has it been damaged by the UV rays? These are little things that you should think about every day. Just think like, what has my skin been through today? Have I done everything that I can to protect, help, and rehab it? And this is where we're going to come on to products, order, and sort of placement, things like that. We're going to keep this so simple. We're going to keep this really, really simple. And I'm not going to give you product recommendations because everyone's skin is different. And I think it's important as well. Everyone's budget's different, everyone's skin is different. So I'm going to tell you the very basics. If you're someone who has a really low budget, it's better to just take the order of these products and try and find, I would say, as a rule of thumb, if you're young or new to skincare and you're starting off with a really basic routine, look for more natural products, because it can be, as soon as you start using chemicals on your skin, like vitamin C, niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, it's very difficult when you have no knowledge to know how and when to layer those products um, without causing more harm than good. And retinol is another one as well. I would say, unless you're getting advice from somebody, please don't just start sticking retinol on your face. It can be amazing. Retinol can have great effects for acne, for anti-aging. It has its place in the skincare world, but it needs to be done properly because you can't mix retinol with a lot of different things, and you need to apply it certain times. So yeah, we're going to keep this really basic, really simple. Cleanse, tone, moisturize, morning and night. cleanser using, if you're wearing makeup, you can double cleanse if you've done like a really heavy cleanse. If you've got a really heavy amount of makeup on, you can double cleanse. You can use an oil-based cleanser, you can use a gel cleanser, you can use a foaming cleanser, you can use a milk cleanser. Just make sure that you're keeping it more on the natural side, especially if you're looking at foaming cleansers, because they can have sodium lauryl sulfate in them, which can dehydrate the skin. So I like oil-based cleansers personally. And yeah, you'll pop that on, massage it into the skin. If you're wearing makeup, take the makeup off. If you've got really heavy makeup on, do it again, so you double cleanse. But don't feel like it's a necessity. And obviously, first thing in the morning, don't do it twice unless you've, I don't know, slept with makeup on, heavy makeup on. Please don't do that though. Wash your face before bed. Um, and cleanser will clean your skin. It will get rid of the dirt. It will get rid of the makeup. It will get rid of pollutants or some of the pollutants. It will help to just do a really mild exfoliant. So it just gets rid of that dead skin cell, because things like dead skin cells sitting on the skin can cause spots. So you might be someone that never wears makeup and has a really lovely, clean, lovely, perfect life skin wise, but then you're still breaking out. And then I'm like, well, if you cleaned your skin, you're just going to be taking away that sort of surface area of dirt and grime and dead skin cells, which are not going to block your pores. So then it's going to help to stop the spots. So if we're keeping this really basic, cleansing is important, because not only does it keep your skin clean, but it can help stop with breakouts as well. Over cleansing is when you clean your skin too much with too much of a stripping product, and then your skin goes the other way. So you're basically over cleaning it, and then it overproduces oil and it starts breaking out. So keep it really basic. Cleanse in the morning, cleanse in the evening. If you've got heavy makeup on, double cleanse. Toner. I love toner. I've seen some ridiculous things online where people say you need to tone 7 times. Don't do that. That's stupid. Toner gets rid of the excess cleanser that's left on your face. So we were talking about soap being left on your face and how it can damage your skin. Toner helps to get rid of it. It's also, I love toning because it's quite a good step for someone with problematic skin, because it can calm skin down. So if you're someone who suffers with acne or rosacea or sensitive skin, toning is lovely. I think it cools the skin down. It helps to kind of close up those pores a little bit. I mean, technically you can't completely close up a pore, but your pores will open in the heat and close in the cold. They will kind of open and restrict, I guess is a better way of putting it. So toning helps to do that. If you can't afford a toner, use cold water. Just splash your face with cold water. It's going to help to do the same sort of thing. You can use rose water if you've got sensitive skin. Brilliant. Really helps with sensitive skin. And then moisturize. I mean, moisturizing is, I think, the most important step for pretty much everybody. Finding the right moisturizer for you is important, because some are going to be extremely hydrating and some are going to be less so. So again, maybe finding some help, trial and error, and just seeing what works best for you. But yeah, moisturizing. I moisturize in the morning, and I normally use a moisturizer that is works well under makeup, because I often will wear makeup. I have some moisturizers with hyaluronic acid in them, which I think actually really helps. So if you find a moisturizer with hyaluronic acid, I think people get scared by that word, but actually hyaluronic acid is really lovely and it works really well for a lot of people. So yeah, hyaluronic acid is in a lot of my moisturizing products. And yeah, I mean, if you're keeping this really simple, just whack on a bit of moisturizer in the morning and then whack it on before you go to bed. The one other thing I will say is sun cream. That's the one thing I'm going to add on here. During the day, especially during the summer, I mean, really, you should be wearing sun cream every day. You just should, to protect your skin. But if you're keeping this really basic and you don't have the time, just put sun cream on when you can in the mornings. And if you can reapply it during the day, I know for some people it's quite a big ask actually, But yeah, sun cream is very, very important. It's especially if you're someone interested in anti-aging, sun cream is the best thing you can do, or one of the best things you can do. It might not cure, but it can prevent things from getting worse. And when you're young, it's really good to get into the good habits of using sun cream. So yeah, sun cream, cleanse, tone, moisturize at night. You can use oil at night as well if you want to take it that one step further, but I wouldn't until you know what oils work for you. Some can be comedogenics, they can cause more spots. And then cleanse, tone, moisturize, sun cream in the mornings. I think that's everything. Yeah. I'm going to bring out some more episodes on skincare because this is keeping it very, very basic. And yeah, I'd like to do a bit more where you can start to put more into your routine, maybe talk a bit more about like exfoliators and stuff like that. But I will hold my hands up and say that I know what I know. I'm not an esthetician, but I have got some friends in the skincare community who would probably love to come on here and talk about it. And I definitely want to bring out more about what I know about skincare. And yeah. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something. If you've got any questions, you can DM me on Instagram and TikTok, or you can leave a comment on this episode. My Instagram and TikTok is at MegJoySmith. And yeah, I can't wait to have a chat with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.